It's Thursday, May 6th, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. A final decision on this year's Common Entrance Examination, which is tentatively scheduled for June 22nd, is still pending. And Education Minister SANTIA Bradshaw said there are different options that could be considered, including deferring or abandoning this year's exam. She, however, noted that the ultimate decision would depend on assessments carried out this school term.
Well, but we first need to know where the kids were, because from what I was hearing from the students when I visited, a lot of the students are very concerned about feeling as though they've been rushed through the syllabus. These are 10-year-olds telling me this, okay? It is not parents telling me this. This is me asking students, how do you feel? And many of them felt that, they are nervous, they're anxious about having to do this exam, which is normal, but they also spoke to feeling as though they were being rushed to understand concepts and prepare for the examination. And I think, I don't know that we can't ignore that either from 10-year-olds saying that's how they feel. So it's a combination of hearing from the teachers who are teaching them, whether they have completed aspects of the syllabus, but also on paper now being able to determine whether these children are actually ready with the right conditions of having the face-to-face to be able to sit the exam in a couple of weeks or a couple of months or exactly. I think there are different options. Obviously, not doing the exam is one, deferring the exam is one, or simply just, just working with the kids to bring them up to a certain level, or doing over a year.
Government is moving full steam ahead with sweeping education reforms that could see the abolition of the Common Entrance Exam, the establishment of middle schools, contracts for principals, and a more focused approach to the study of new technologies. In fact, Minister of Education SANTIA Bradshaw on Tuesday revealed that with an ease in the country's COVID-19 pandemic situation, Director of Education Reform Dr. Ida Denny would soon begin the process along with numerous key stakeholders.
All of those things are on the table, and we wanted to have the face-to-face discussions, talking to the country about the various proposals, but all of that had to be shelved because of COVID and all that people have been dealing with. So now that things have, I would say eased somewhat, but things are coming back to some level of normalcy, Dr. Denny and the team can now start to flesh out exactly how we will address the reforms in the system, so that, again, coding and robotics can play a greater role in the curriculum. Things like STEAM education wouldn't just be buzzwords anymore, but actually that you will have teachers not just teaching to exams, but teaching and applying the concepts that are taught at the training college and that they've learned within the classroom as well. So the reforms are not just the 11 plus, just want to make that clear. And if we make a decision in that, one way or the other, it has to be in the interest of the children.
There is a growing demand for travel to Bridgetown and the rest of the region. That's according to British Airways Chief Executive Officer Sean Doyle. However, he says a lot of the airline's planning for the expected traffic of British tourists will depend on the new travel policies to be implemented by London and the policies the Caribbean will employ. And he's urging regional officials not to make it difficult for UK travellers by imposing too many restrictions.
We've got to remove friction, and I think to appreciate that travellers coming from the UK will be very low risk because of the progress on the vaccination programme here. As of today, 66% of UK adults over 18 have had one vaccine and 35% have had two vaccines. So I think in terms of the entry requirements into the Caribbean, it should reflect the risk profile of UK travellers, which is dramatically improved and getting better by the day. Secondly, we need to promote the Caribbean. I think we need to remind people of the joy of travelling there and remind people of the experiences and just reignite that passion for travel. We're doing everything we can, and I know we got a partnership campaign going out where we promote both the destinations as well as what British Airways has to offer. But we're offering great flexibility. We're offering great value. We offer protection through our BA Holidays product, which is end-to-end. And I think reassurance is going to be very important that we're offering flexibility. It's a warm welcome when you wait at the other end, and the experience will be frictionless. They're the kind of messages we need to get out there.
Workers from the beautification program continued the Clean and Green campaign on Wednesday. The workers are transforming a large vacant plot, once a landfill, into a new recreational field for residents near the Coverley development in Christchurch. MP for the area, Wilfred Abrams, who joined the Minister of Environment and National Beautification, Adrian Ford, for the start of the project, lauded the initiative.
The good thing as well about this project is that we're using people from Christchurch East to beautify Christchurch East. In the background there, you will see the team from 360, right? These are all young men and ladies from within our own constituency. So we are not just clearing and beautifying a space for somebody else. We're doing it for ourselves. So this is from us to us. And I want to congratulate in advance. I want to congratulate you all in advance for the work you're going to do here. But I also want to acknowledge the sterling effort that all of you have made in transforming Barbados, because Barbados looks different since the 360 program came in.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, there is concern about a surge of hospitalizations and deaths among young people as the COVID-19 pandemic accelerates across the Americas, including the Caribbean. Director of the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Carissa Etienne, expressed the worry during her weekly media briefing on Wednesday.
Nearly 40% of all global COVID deaths reported last week took place right here in our region. Today, more Latin American countries than ever before are reporting more than 1,000 COVID cases a day. And our hospitals are fuller than ever. Puerto Rico and Cuba remain significant drivers of COVID cases in the Caribbean, although infections are also on the rise in many smaller islands. Anguilla, for example, has reported nearly 70% of its total COVID cases in just the last 10 days. And in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, cases are increasing among internally displaced people following the recent eruption of the La Soufrière volcano. In Central America, Guatemala is seeing significant spikes in cases, and Costa Rica is reporting record high infections. Across both countries, hospitals are full of patients, most of them under 70 years of age.
The world is currently facing a shortage of 900,000 midwives, which represents a third of the required global midwifery workforce. That's according to the 2021 State of the World's Midwifery Report, which also stated that the COVID-19 crisis has further exacerbated the problem. Sally Pearman, Chief Executive of the International Confederation of Midwives, explains.
The global shortage of midwives currently stands at 900,000 midwives. And at current rates, we will still be short about 750,000 midwives in 2030, when the UN Sustainable Development Goals are supposed to be achieved. The shortage is most alarming in low-income and middle-income countries, and especially in Africa. And these countries account for over 95% of global maternal and newborn deaths and stillbirths. This acute shortage of midwives is exacerbating a terrible global toll in the form of preventable deaths. And an analysis for this report showed that if there was full resourcing of midwife-delivered care by 2035, it could avert 67% of maternal deaths, 64% of newborn deaths, and 65% of stillbirths. It could save an estimated 4.3 million lives per year.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.